Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So today we have some more payments going out to Social Security beneficiaries. These are going to be going to retirees as well as those on SSDI. These payments are going to be right around $1,827 on average. So we're going to be going over who is going to be receiving these payments, and then we're also going to be looking at the remainder payment schedule for the month of July. Now, in addition to that, it looks like we may have a chance to have renewed monthly payments going out to several millions of Americans. So we're going to be covering who is going to be eligible for those payments if this ends up being passed, and why I think at least this actually does have a pretty good chance of passing. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quick by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so as I just mentioned a moment ago, it looks like, millions of Americans might once again be receiving some type of form of monthly stimulus payment. Now, this would actually be in the form of a child tax credit. So back during the pandemic, whenever we were sending out all those stimulus checks and we had these different packages, of course, we actually had one part of one of those stimulus packages that sent out monthly checks to Americans. So those checks were anywhere between $250 to $300, depending on the age of your child. So if your child was under the age of 6, you'd be receiving a monthly payment every single month in the mail or directly deposited into your bank account of $300 per child. And then for children between the ages of 6 and 18, under the age of 18, you'd be receiving $250 per child. But unfortunately, that did expire. They weren't able to renew that. But this year, in 2023, it looks like there's actually a pretty good chance of that actually being renewed. And that's because Trump's tax cuts are going to be expiring in 2025, and Republicans desperately want to renew that. They want to extend Trump's tax cuts beyond the year of 2025, perhaps even making them permanent. So we're going to be going over why they may actually be able to strike a deal between these two things. So according to Newsweek, Republican optimistic Congress will send Americans more direct payments. So House Republican Brian Fitzpatrick is optimistic that there could be more direct payments delivered to Americans at the federal level, even as his colleagues remain hesitant to add to the nation's deficit. As talks over a comprehensive tax reform package begins in Congress, Democrats and Republicans remain far apart on remaking the country's tax policy. Democrats have prioritized reviving the expired child tax credit expansion, while most Republicans are eyeing to keep Trump-era tax breaks that are set to expire in 2025. But the congressman agrees with his colleagues across the aisle on the benefit and remains hopeful the expansion could make its way into the final tax package. He said, quote, "The child tax credit provides meaningful tax relief for many working American families," Fitzpatrick, a member of the House Ways and Means Committee, told Newsweek on Tuesday. So even though a lot of Republicans are against this expanded child tax credit because it would make everyone eligible for the payment and there would be no income requirements, this Republican and Brian Fitzpatrick is agreeing with his colleagues across the aisle that they should include this in the comprehensive tax reform. Now, according to USA Today, if they were to expand this, this is what it would include. So the new proposal would remove an earnings requirement from the full credit. It would also expand the maximum child tax credit to $250 per month. It would also continue the young child tax credit of $300 per month for children 6 years old and younger. And finally, it would provide a baby bonus, an extra $2,000 in the month that a new baby is born. So basically, the differences between how the child tax credit is now versus how they want to make it being is right now the maximum credit is $2,000 per month. However, only $1,500 is fully refundable. If this were to get signed into law and passed, the new child tax credit would be anywhere between $3,000 to $3,600, depending on the age of your child, and the full amount would also be fully refundable. In addition to that, there would also be no earnings limit. So right now you have to make at least $2,500 in AGI in order to be able to receive any sort of the credit. If this were to pass, there would be no type of earnings limit. So you could earn, basically whatever. It could be $0 in earnings, and you could still be eligible to receive the full $3,000 or $3,600 of the amount. Also, in this one, once again, like I mentioned, in the year that your baby is born, you would be earning a $2,000 baby bonus in addition to the $300 monthly payments as well. So once again, like I said earlier on, I do think this has a pretty good chance of passing. And that's because Republicans really want to extend or make permanent those Trump-era tax cuts. So basically what the Trump-era tax cuts were is they reduced taxes for every single income limit. So whether you made at least $10,000 to, let's say, like $40,000 every single year, your taxes would be reduced by right around 2%. Pretty much for every bracket you look at, they're reduced by 2 to 3%. And of course, that also goes all the way up to the wealthiest of people. So people who earn over millions of dollars per year, they're also paying 2% less of that amount. So obviously, it's really going to benefit those who earn the most, because if you make, let's say like $10 million per year, if you're paying 2% less in taxes of $10 million, that's going to result in more tax savings than someone who earns just say like $40,000 per year. So obviously it benefited the rich the most, and Democrats therefore do not want to extend that. But Democrats are saying, hey, maybe we will extend that. Maybe we will jump on board with extending these Trump-era tax cuts if and only if you decide to also include the expanded child tax credit. So I think that bargaining chip there is most likely going to work, and they're going to end up including these child tax credit payments. But again, we will just have to wait and see. Now, in some other news, of course, today there are going to be some more payments going out to people on Social Security benefits. This is going to include retirees as well as SSDI. These payments are going to be right around $1,827 on average. It's going to be going to those born between the 1st and 10th of any given month. So you can see up on the screen, we're going to go ahead and post up the Social Security payment schedule. And you can see there in the lower left-hand corner for July of 2023. Of course, there were no payments this month to SSI beneficiaries. That's because you would have received your payment a little bit earlier back on June 30th. Back in June, you would have actually received 2 payments. So for those of you on SSI, your next payment won't be until August 1st. Then back on July 3rd of this month, those were going to those who received Social Security before May of 1997, or if you're receiving both Social Security and SSI, you would have been receiving your Social Security payment on the 3rd, and then your SSI payment once again would have been back on June 30th. Once again, today, July 12th, it's the first round of payments going out to those on Social Security. Once again, that's going to be going to those with birthdays falling between the 1st and 10th of any given month. And then the final 2 payments going out this month will be next week on July 19th. It's going to be going to those with birthdays falling between the 11th and 20th of any given month. And then finally, on July 26th, those payments are going to be going to those with birthdays falling between the 21st and 31st of any given month. So once again, if you're receiving SSI, you would not be receiving any payments this month in July. That's because, once again, you would have been receiving your July payment last month in June. In June, you received 2 payments. Your second payment was simply your July payment. Your next payment is going to be coming up on August 1st. And then once again, you're going to be receiving double payments in the month of September. So SSI recipients are going to be receiving their normal payment on September 1st, but then also on September 29th, you're also going to be receiving another payment that's simply going to be your October payment. And then in October, you're not going to be receiving any payment at all. That's because your October payment is actually going to be coming in September. But that's all the news that we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.